Maybe by the time we're done with this episode, that Guinness will be settled and ready to drink.
Yeah, maybe. Good things come to those who wait.
Was that the slogan?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Buyer's remorse.
Welcome to Buyer's Remorse. I'm Darren.
I'm Justin.
And my intro of this is always stupid, so I'm just going to skip it this time. What game did you play?
I played a game that I think is called UNI. UNI.
Yeah. I picked this one for you because I didn't want to be mean to you anymore.
Is that what it was?
Yeah. Because it looks kind of like something that you would like to play, and I don't play co-op games, so it's like I'm never playing this with you. So I was like, yeah, maybe this would be a bit of fun, because I think you can play this solo as well, though, can you?
Not really.
Ah, okay, so you need to.
At least not from what I found.
Yeah, it looked kind of interesting. It looked like I don't know. I like the look of the store page. I think it's got mixed reviews, though.
Yes, it does.
So that's maybe part of the reason why I chose it. But it looked interesting. It looked like just a crazy Mario party on Steam, almost, like, of weird mini games. Is that what it was?
Yes, sort of.
Okay.
So let me get into
Go for it.
The description here. Dev and publisher are Game Museum. It, on the Steam, says it only has 8 reviews. But if you go down to the bottom of the page and count them, there are actually 19. So this is a whole filling in the gaps episode of like how do these reviews actually get counted and how do they work? I don't understand.
Have you got any filters on your reviews?
I don't think so.
Because sometimes I see that too, and it might be because I've got filter only for my language, or like only this kind of review, or filter by playtime. If someone's not played it for long enough, then I cancel their reviews because I don't want to read the review of someone that's played it for like 20 minutes.
Maybe I do and I don't realize it. That's possible.
There might be a setting.
At base, it's $5. Pretty sure I got it for free.
Okay.
Yeah, oh no, in fact I did. I looked this one up, so I got it free from Steam back in March of 2020.
Okay.
This is a kind of mini game fest, is basically what it is. 40 mini games to play against someone else. You won't enjoy this game because you pretty much have to have controllers.
Okay.
It says there's a way to use one keyboard and to use the number pad, but I've tried using the keyboard and number pad, and I don't think that it really works. So when they strongly suggest controllers, I think that they are right. There's a reason it's got mixed reviews.
Okay.
And I think that they're very valid to be mixed. This is similar to a game that I played with my brother-in-law, which was Hidden in Plain Sight. A bunch of mini games. That one is much more kind of pixel art style. But that one is very good, I would say, in comparison to this one. And much more consistent in comparison to this one. The other one that I would probably recommend over Uni for now is a game called Screen Cheat. So if you're looking for...
I've got Screen Cheat.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's a first-person shooting game where you can't really tell where you are. You just have to look at where the other people are, use their screens to try and find them. It takes a while to get your head around it. But these are the things that my brother-in-law and my nephew love to play, and they love to play against each other. So this is why I asked him to play this with me. Because playing it alone, I wasn't getting the real feel for the game.
Can you play against, like, randos when you play?
I don't think so.
So you need to have someone who else has the game that you know?
Well, actually, yes and no. So here's the way. We had a lot of trouble getting it started to begin with. So when we fired it up, we both have the game. Mm-hmm. Because I'm pretty sure he's the one who said, hey, it's on free. He's very good about saying, hey, there's something free. You need to get it. And so I said, okay, let's both fire it up and then we'll play, which we did. But then we couldn't seem to get it to work. Okay. We ended up using the remote play together, and that works. So basically, you don't need to have 2 people who own the game. You need one person to have it and then do Steam remote play together. I don't think there is a way within the game. It's not like Portal 2
or something like that, where there's like a code to enter the room or something like that.
Right. Or Portal 2 where we both signed up and invite a friend or something like that. It doesn't work the same way. But because of that, there's a lot of lag.
Okay.
In a game where, well, many of the mini games require timing this is a real problem. There were some other problems as well. I found that I had no sound for the entire first hour we were playing. This is much like I talked about with Zombie Car Massacre before. For some reason, my Bluetooth headset wasn't working with it. When I turned it off, now I have sound, which would have been nice to know because the thing is, some of these games require sound.
Oh, really?
There are no cards, no achievements, so there's not that for you specifically.
Yeah.
The games themselves oftentimes are very confusing. Even with the instructions, we're not exactly sure what we are doing. So as he put it at one point, he sent me a message and said, it seems a bit like dumb luck. It's kind of like the first one to figure out how this game works actually wins that game.
Yeah.
And that's true. There is a choice to do, you just choose the individual game or do 5 random out of the 40.
Okay.
I would never recommend that you do random because there are some of these games that I have labeled as virtually unplayable.
Oh dear.
So
Okay.
what I've done is I've taken the 40 mini games and I have ranked them. There are 3 sections from decent to challenging, either due to the instructions, mechanics, or the gameplay, and then the virtually unplayable. So I'm going to say that Greg, my brother-in-law, he liked the game Go Battle the best. Go Battle is, are you familiar with the game Go with the white and black pieces?
Yeah.
Well, Go Battle has nothing to do with Go. You basically have, I think it's 4 pieces on the board, and you're using your finger to flick across at the other pieces. You're trying to knock them into electric fields off the board, but the electric fields have these safety platforms that move along as well. With the lag, this was nearly impossible. I was basically having to do the opposite. So instead of hitting it when the bar was full, I had to hit it when it was at its lowest. So for most of our first battle, I was hitting very weakly, and he was flinging the pieces all the way across the board, and he won very easily. I think that's part of the reason why he loved it so much the first time. And
So he had no lag?
No, because we ended up doing it for a long time where he was the host. Now we have this.
So you're different zones and everything, yeah.
I know that there was a game, I think it was Simple Story Alex, where I didn't have enough game to finish the hour. I did 2 hours or more on this one. With trying to get it to work, we took a turn where after we went through, I think, all of the games where we switched so that I could be the host, so that he could see if there was a lag on his end, or if it was just the way that we did it before. The lag still existed. Oh. So the person who's hosting has no lag, but the other person. I think ideally the game would work if you're in the same room as somebody.
Or if it was like hosted on a server.
Yeah, but I don't think that you have that option.
That's what I mean. So it's probably too cheap.
I think this game, you kind of need to be in the same room.
Right.
So keep that in mind. Some of these maybe would work a bit better if you were. And I tried to take that into account when I was ranking them, assuming that you're on an even playing field.
Right.
Because if you are not, like 39 of these games are basically unplayable if you have a lag, and it puts somebody at a huge disadvantage. But if you were in the same room, then yeah, that's basically the criteria I want you to be aware of.
Right.
For me, the number one is a basketball game. So you know when you go to an arcade and you can shoot basketball in the hoops, and they even have some that move from side to side. That's basically what this game is. Except instead of shooting basketballs, they do this thing where they just have all these random characters. So you're throwing toy hammers and bombs and cars and stuff like that, right? Totally silly. But I don't mind. I found that kind of funny. But the basket, after about halfway, starts moving, and it moves in a figure 8 pattern.
Oh, God, okay.
And it's really hard to guess. But if you were without lag, you'd be playing the same, and you have to, if it's coming closer to you, then you want to do less power than before. I like it because it's simple. It's something that I've already seen, but it does it a little bit differently. And it's so difficult and crazy, but it does that for both people equally.
Right.
And so I do appreciate that. Go Battle would be my second. I think honestly, it is probably the most solid game of the 40 as far as the mechanics and how it works and the physics. When you have control, when there's no lag, it does work right and it does look right. Though I did oftentimes overshoot then because I wasn't used to having so much power.
Right.
And then I would send my own piece into the electric field and give my opponent a freebie, which is kind of annoying. But I do think that is quite a good one. Number 3, Alpha Battle, is basically you taking these characters and moving around trying to find the letter that is at the top of the screen. Or maybe it's the alphabet in order, but you have to basically go through this random pile of magnets and get your character to the alphabet letter before your opponent.
Right. I can't really picture that, but...
Well, imagine you have a whiteboard full of alphabet magnets.
Right.
2 sets of alphabets. And you just have to get to the letters first and get all the way through the alphabet.
Are you controlling a little guy, like moving him through like an alphabet maze kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, not a maze. You get to the A and then the A disappears.
Ah, okay.
But you can move over to the other side and start taking them away from your opponent. The sides don't really matter.
Okay.
I suppose you could make a rule that you have to stay to sides, but the game doesn't have that rule. So you could go anywhere on the whole screen.
Right.
I like that, I think, just because even with the lag, I was able to get ahead. I'd figured that one out.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a good feeling from that one. 4 is called Internet Disconnected. No idea. No idea why it's called that. You're an ice cream cone jumping over candy and desserts. You can't control the speed, so it's like one of those running, jumping games, except you can't control the speed, you're just hitting jump.
Okay.
And first one to run into an obstacle loses.
Flappy Bird, then.
Much like that. The next one, number 5, would be called Space War. It's kind of like Galaga.
Okay.
You have alien ships shooting down at you. You don't lose the lives, but if you get hit, you start spinning uncontrollably and you can't do anything, so your opponent has time to shoot away.
Is it like a points game, like who just gets the most point wins then?
Yeah, so most of these games, there's a bar that you need to fill.
Okay, right.
And so, yeah, if you fill your bar with killing enough of the enemy, then you win.
You win, okay.
It looks okay. It's not quite Galaga, but like I said, it's okay. It's the type of thing playing against somebody else would be more fun. I would not want to play this on my own.
Right.
The next one was one that he hated because I don't think that it made sense to him for a long time. That is Golden X. Golden X, you have an axe, and person 1, I think, is red, and person B is blue, which is true for most of these games. And on the stump in front of you, between you, objects will appear. So the same stupid objects, right? Toy hammers and octopuses and all these same things. They use them multiple times in multiple games, right? But these things will appear with an outline. If it's red, the red person should hit it. If it's blue, the blue person should hit it. If it's yellow, nobody should hit it. And it goes fast. Boom, 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 boom. And so you have to think very quick. If you miss it, you miss it.
Yeah.
And if you hit the other persons, I think they get some points or you lose some points. Yeah, so but it happens very, very fast. But it works. It works very well. I think there's another one that even with the lag, because I figured it out, I was able to make it work. Number 7, Command King, where you basically have to hit buttons in order to remove a pile of ceramic pots. So on a stump in front of you is a huge tower of ceramic pots, and on each pot is a command, like left arrow, right punch.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to hit all the things in order to, I think you basically earn points again. So the faster you do it correctly, the more points you get, and you beat your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
This, again, would be a tough one for you because you're not as familiar with controllers.
Right.
And I'm not sure how that would work on a keyboard, even if it did work. Number 8 is so crazy. I picked number 8 here because it's crazy. I love it. It's called LAPD.
Okay.
And it's about donuts.
Of course.
So there's all sorts of pastries floating up into the air between you. You each have a pair of tongs. So imagine going to the bakery and using tongs to put it on a tray. But that's not what you're doing. When you hit the button, tongs fly over at a pastry. But they fall in a, gravity brings them down. Right. So you have to account for gravity as you're sending them over. And in the mix are also some fruit. And heaven forbid you should eat some fresh fruit. You'll get this grunting noise. Oh, oh! I didn't want that apple.
Oh,
I wanted that strawberry tart. Like that's what it is. It's just so bonkers that I do love it. It's another one where you're on equal playing field, so it's equally bad for both of you. But the first time, it was really confusing because sometimes if you get 2 or 3 good shots in a row, it'll start to say things. And I started to think some donuts were worth more than others, but I don't think that's the case. I think that really you just want to get as many donuts as you can, but you can only get one at a time as well.
Right. So it's fishing for donuts.
Kind of. Number 9 is Assassin, which is probably the one that reminds me most of Hidden in Plain Sight, because they have some like this. There are 30 soldiers on the screen. You're looking top down.
Mm-hmm.
You are one, your opponent is another. They all look the same. You are trying to shoot your opponent before your opponent shoots you. So you need to watch the ones that are being shot because you know that that's your opponent. The NPCs don't shoot.
Okay.
So you have to find who is the assassin and get them before they can get you.
Okay. Sounds fun.
Right. And that's the thing. If you think that sounds fun, then Hidden in Plain Sight is for you because that is what a lot of them are like. You need to do this before your opponent does that.
I like the idea of that game. That I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's out already, but it's the one where it's like we play against each other. I'll be the assassin and you'll be like the secret agent, and you're on a boat, and I don't know who you are, but I have to shoot you. I've got to find you.
Are you sure it's on a boat and not
it might be
you
not.
looking in on an apartment building?
It might be something like that then. I thought it was on a boat for some reason.
So I have one that's called The Ship, where you have to find each other.
Yeah.
And that...
It's not good.
It's not what I wanted it to be. There's some things I would talk about with you on that, but later.
Yeah.
But what is it called? It's not Spy Hunter, because I think that was the racing game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I know the spy game you're talking about. I've seen it play.
One of you plays as a sniper, and one of you plays as you're at like a dinner party or something like that.
Right, and you need to pull off an objective.
And the more things that you do, the more suspect you look, and then I can find you easier. Yeah, it looks interesting. I can't remember what it's called though.
I think I actually have it.
All right. Well,
we'll have to look at that later.
So number 10.
Number 10 is Survival.
Boring name, but is it any good?
It's so stupid. You're 2 guys with sticks, and you have to rub them to make fire. So you basically just have to move the joystick very fast to try and get it. Yeah, so it's just a speed game.
Okay.
But it does work, so it counts in decent. Number 11, I'm surprised I put it here. Do androids count of sheep?
Okay.
Sheep walk onto the screen. You have a clicker. You have to count the right number. It's not challenging.
Okay.
We both got it right the first time and tied. It's the worst idea for a minigame, anything where you can tie. It made no sense. So I put it here just because it's not challenging and it does work, but it's kind of stupid. Number 12 along with that is Bartender. Bottles will appear with odd bottle caps. You flick them off with your finger. It's a timed power gauge. You have to get to the top of the power gauge. First one to get enough points from knocking enough off wins. This is one where with the lag I couldn't do. It was virtually impossible. Without the lag I can do it, but it's kind of boring. And it takes... Here's the thing. Survival takes about 10 seconds once you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Bartender, it just takes a bit too long to be interesting.
I was going to ask you that. Well, what's the time range on each game then?
That varies wildly.
So 10 seconds for the shortest one, probably, yeah? That survival one?
Yeah.
But how long do they get then?
Oh, well, we haven't got to those yet.
Oh, God.
Yeah, like basketball will have a timed... Once the time up, whoever has the most points wins. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bartender would be different. Number 13 would be Fly Me to the Moon, which is, again, it's just button mashing. The faster you do it, the faster your rocket launches. We're now on to section 2.
Okay.
The challenge. Either due to instructions, mechanics, or gameplay. Number 14 is Breakout. You're familiar with Breakout?
Arcanite?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so nothing new. We've played this before. There's a weird ball that bounces around. It's like a bonus ball. If it touches your platform, it seems to take off just to the side and it moves really slowly. I don't understand why it's there. It's okay, but we've seen this game before and it's worked better. I probably should have put this in the decent area, but that third ball is very weird and I don't like it. 15. Crane. This is a ridiculous game. So imagine a crane game. Instead of having a claw, you have a bomb.
Okay.
That is on a swinging chain, and you have to drop it into your tray of toys to get them to explode, and then it tallies up how many you've got. That builds your bar at the top, and the first one to fill the bar to drop enough toys wins. But the wall between your area and your opponent's area is small enough you can easily drop the bomb into the wrong side if you overshoot. And also, even if you drop the bomb in, sometimes it just pushes them back against the wall. So I played it by myself, and you can do quite well just letting the game pile them up and letting them fall.
Really? Oh, God. Okay.
So you will beat the game, your opponent, but not by as much as you should, considering the opponent is doing absolutely nothing.
Right.
So that's why I put that there. Number 16, we're on to Catch the Flag. Not Capture the Flag, Catch the Flag.
Okay.
Don't know why. It is one of the most difficult platform jumping things I have ever seen. It's just one screen. You see it all at once.
Yep.
But there are platforms that, earthen platforms, when you jump on them, your weight brings them down. Mm-hmm. And so when you walk to the other side, you make it nearly impossible for the next person to jump onto it. The controls are very awkward. So even though this should have been a 10-second game, it took us quite a while to get to the top because we just kept falling back to the bottom over and over again.
Man.
I don't know how long that one took. This is not the longest.
Oh, God, really? Okay.
Number 17, Dodge This. Basically asteroids, but instead of asteroids, you have a bunch of circles that follow you around and try to kill you. So you try to avoid them. The one to survive damage the longest lives. 18, Dodge Racer, which is one of those... I don't know if you would have ever had these games. We used to have this handheld game where the screen was built mechanically into the game. And so it would move down, cars would appear, and you had to move your little plastic car to avoid those cars. It's kind of like that.
I had one of those, yeah.
Except more obstacles, more... and sometimes you have no idea what's coming. So there would be traffic cones that you can't get into, but you don't know which side to go from. So you're kind of guessing. And then there's a wall of cones at the end if you choose the wrong side. So it's a bit unfair, but again, it's unfair equally. But because you can't know what's ahead of you, I put that here. I put it in the kind of challenging because of the way that game is set up. 19, Crazy Soccer, which is what I would label not quite Rocket League. So Rocket League, where you have the cool cars and they have rockets on them and you have amazing graphics and you're running along and it's in 3D. Well, this is in 2D, top down, and the controls are not as good. And you have to try and get a soccer ball into a goal using a car. It's very awkward.
Budget Rocket League then.
Yes. Now, maybe this came out before Rocket League. I don't know. But yeah,
it's doubtful.
It's definitely not as good. 20, Coin Stack. Basically, you take turns with coins, dropping them onto the stack, and the one where the stack falls loses.
Okay.
Very challenging.
Coin Jenga.
21, Rock, Paper, Cents. It's rock, paper, scissors. You have the three options in front of you. You have to choose, but if you choose first, your opponent can see what you've chosen and quickly choose a different one. But if you wait too long, then you don't get to choose and you lose. And it's not a one time. I think it's a certain 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 5 or something. Next up, 22, Not in My Backyard. I don't know why it's called that. It's a tank game. You each have a tank and you try to blow up the other tank.
Okay.
23, Juice Please, where you have to choose the flavor of juice your customer wants. That picture will pop above their head. There are only 4 flavors. It's left, right, up, and down. You have to choose the right one. It's not overly complicated. It's kind of boring, but it is a bit of a challenge. Even playing on my own, it's very easy to mess this one up for some reason.
Is that a reflex game as well? You got to be quick about it?
I think so. Okay. I don't know. We didn't really play this enough to really get a feel for it. I think it would be possible, and maybe I should have put that in the decent section, but it's not good enough to go in the decent section, in my opinion. 24, Road Fight, which is basically just top-down racer, but it has zero forgiveness if you crash into the side and will often bounce you back the direction you came and turn you around.
Okay.
And the controls and turning around are not easy. In fact, what I found the best way for me to do it, which is not the best way because I lost every time we played this one, is to just aim my car, turn it while not really moving, gun down as straight as I could, and then pretty much stop and turn and then gun again so that I wouldn't keep hitting the wall.
Right.
Not bad, but it is incredibly challenging. Along with that would be the next one. 25 is Hand Tremor. Did you ever play those games where you had to take a metal ring and move it around a wire?
Yeah.
If you touch the wire. That's basically what it is, except that you are, as we're going to find in a later game, these robot vacuums, right? Roomba.
Mm.
And you have to go through these tracks without touching the sides. If you touch the sides, you lose.
Okay.
And as you move through, the whole screen is slightly rotating to make it even more challenging.
Okay.
This one, I honestly debated putting this in virtually unplayable because the thing is, it is so difficult to get to the end that it is probably the wisest thing to not play at all. Because the person who crashes first loses.
Right, so you could just sit there and wait for them to screw it up.
Yeah. Next would be a game called Dart, which we did not understand. I had to play it on my own again to figure it out. The dartboard is spinning underneath you.
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw the dart. Points don't matter, as far as I could tell. All you need to do is avoid any other darts on the board. So it spins with the doubles ring underneath your area. So you can't aim it, just going to hit it in basically the outside of the dartboard. And you just want to throw it at a time where it won't hit an arrow that somebody else has already touched.
Right.
If you do, then you lose. It's a one and out game.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if you're hitting the 20s or anything like that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it. But I don't know. I wanted points. I wanted to figure it out. I thought that something would be more meaningful, but no, that's all it is.
Yeah, I know that. I know that game from something my daughter's been playing where you throw knives at a board, and yeah, if you hit the other knives, then you lose, basically.
Okay.
But that's literally just a mini game to win coins for the shop or something like that. So that's not even part of the real game.
That's all this is.
They put it into this game.
27, Watch Your Back, where you're a car with a tail of soccer balls, and you want to try and destroy your opponent's soccer balls before they destroy yours.
Okay. How do you destroy them? By running over them?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically touching them. It's very 2D.
Okay.
28, Chicken Race. I don't like this. I really hate this one. Basically, you're just two cars, and your car is just going, and you have to hit the brake before you run into a barrel. If you run into the barrel, you lose. If you get closer, you win.
Mm-hmm.
But we never had a time where we played this where one of us didn't run into the barrel. And it just, I don't know, it just feels like you don't have much control over it. And so it doesn't.
I'm sure the lag doesn't help for you.
That was a disaster, the lag, yeah. 29, your favorite.
Oh, really?
Math Quiz.
Oh, God. Quiz
spelled Quize.
Math Quiz.
For some reason. I don't like this game.
I'm sure I would like it even less.
You're just given, I think, just addition. Maybe if we played longer, you would get to others. But it's just these addition problems over and over again. And you can't type in the number because remember, you're using a controller. So they've given you a wheel of numbers that you have to move your dial around to click on. And if you, especially with the lag, this is a problem. If you click on the wrong number, you don't have a correct button, so you just have to wait for the next question.
Oh, man.
And you're definitely going to lose. So if you guess too quickly, you're out.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this at all. It wasn't fun. Maybe it's because my math skills are rusty. Maybe it's because of the lag, but...
I'm pretty sure the game is rusty.
But that is the last one that I would say is properly playable, because we're now going to get into the virtually unplayable section.
What number are we at now?
We're now 30.
So 25% of this game is unplayable.
Well, 11 out of 40. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Told you my maths was bad.
Pong Soccer. This is basically foosball or pong, but the problem is there's only control over the goalies. So I control my goalie and I can try and get in the way of the goal and reflect the ball back. But there are these two middle guys that are going up and down. And maybe this was on Pong. It's been a very long time since I played. But they just get in the way. Right. And so it's very easy for you to hit your own person and it bounced right back and do an own goal.
Right.
And there's just something about the way they seem to catch everything that I find it to be kind of unplayable. They're actually characters with their arms out. Even if this was in Pong just would have been a line. And it wouldn't have been quite the same. It wouldn't have worked quite the same. 31 is just a really stupid game. It's called Time ? And from what I understand, you're basically just guessing how long a minute has been. So if you were clever, you could just set up a timer. You know you're going to play this game. I got it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's just weird. 32 is called Robotic Vacuum Cleaner. So here's where they properly are.
Okay.
Cheese curls, broken plates, leaves, these kind of things appear on the floor. You, as your robot vacuum cleaner, have to go around and clean up more before your opponent does. Don't run into the furniture or you get phased for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the furniture disappears, which is kind of weird. But you can only turn one direction. I think you can only turn left. So if you want to get something that's on your right, you have to go all the way around in a circle to try and get back to it.
Oh, man.
You also, in Asteroids fashion, go off the screen. And so if you go out the top, you'll appear at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
The controls are so bad that I'm putting it here. I don't think he would. I think he was far nicer on this one, but no, I did not like this one. 33, Moles Attack. So this is basically the mole game you see at any arcade where you're trying to hit them.
Oh, yeah.
But the controls, even if you're the host, are way too slow. So and it takes way too long. Because I don't think this one is timed. I think this is how many do you attack?
Okay.
I beat him by hovering over one hole.
Oh, jeez.
Because the lag was too much for me.
Right.
So I knew I could never move fast enough. But even when I played it later on my own, I realized, it's just too slow. It's way too slow. So I could sit over one hole, hit just the one, and win faster than somebody who's actually trying to play the game.
Jesus. All right.
Not okay. Not playable.
Yeah.
Next would be probably the most frustrating. Number 34, Super Jet Boy.
Sounds awesome.
You are Jet Boy.
Yep.
In a spacesuit.
Mm-hmm.
You can only hit your rocket to go up. Don't touch any walls or you immediately disappear and you have to start back again.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 respawn points that you can get to, but the controls are so bad. The instant death each time, the fact that no matter how you do at some point have to turn around and make that work. Even on my own, this takes way too long and is way too frustrating. And I don't know how long we took, but this was the longest game we played because we were going to get through it.
Yep.
And we just kept playing and playing and playing and dying and dying and dying until he finally got to the end because I, after about 2 minutes, was ready to give up. But I didn't want to say I'm ready to give up. So we kept playing. And so he did end up getting to the end. I tried it again on my own so that I didn't have the lag. Controls are still awful.
Right.
It's just really awful. At least with this game, you know exactly what you need to do the second the screen pops up. But the controls are so bad that, I would say that it is pretty much unplayable. 35, Pinch Hitter, a baseball game where things are just being thrown at you. But the controls and the timing are so bad that even if you're hosting, it's just not good. It is funny because they're still throwing you those random things, the toys at you.
Toy hammers and stuff, yeah.
But no. This is one that I know in at least one of the bad reviews, they brought this one up specifically that it's just the controls for it don't work. And so it's just not worth playing. Landing on the moon, you're now, instead of launching a rocket, you're now trying to land the rocket. It makes no sense. I don't ever want to play it again. 37, Odd Fencing. You are a fencing character.
Okay.
But you don't move. Imagine your character is not an action figure, but just a little statue.
Mm-hmm.
So it can't move, it can't bend, and you're kind of hitting a button as though you're blowing wind at your character and trying to get it to get its fencing foil to touch the opponent.
Okay.
You can sometimes get it to spin wildly across the screen, but you have no real control over it. I like the randomness of it, but the control, even getting it to across the screen, playing on my own later to experiment with it, is really hard. I don't know how it works. And most of the time, even when we were playing against each other, I could get all the way across. Somehow that day I was on it and I could get it across, but typically I was just landing on my opponent's foil and dying. So even if I could move faster and better, I still lost. So no, I don't like this one. 38 is called Gunfight. I don't understand how this game works. There's a coin that gets flipped, but when I played on my own, I could just shoot my opponent before the coin ever got flipped. So it made no sense. There's some sort of sound effect, I think, for when you're supposed to shoot. I just don't. I don't get it.
Is it like a high noon guns standoff kind of thing? Was that what
That's
it is?
what it's supposed to be.
Like a draw from, what do you call it? The Call of Juarez?
Yeah, it's not like that. I mean, if anything, they made no, I don't know if I'd say a worse one, but it does seem like just whoever hits the button first wins.
Or like the mini game from Mind Control Delete, that, what was it called? Like Bad Guy or Bad Man or something like that, where you just went around and there was these like weird figures that you just shoot people and then, he had a wife and kids. he was going to night school.
This is nothing like that. It's just two guys on the screen and you just hit your button first and you win.
What are the graphics like in this game though? I mean, like, how would you describe the graphics? Is it 8-bit? Is it 16-bit?
Oh no,
It's like mobile?
Yes.
Right, okay.
So they have...
I love how mobile, that's a category of graphics now.
But let's say that.
Like, mobile.
There are sprites that are fully cute cartoon. Okay. They look smooth. They don't look pixelated.
Okay.
But you're getting the same ones a lot of times over and over again.
Okay.
Right? Your Roomba characters look exactly the same, and they're mostly just circles with a couple lines on them. It looks much smoother.
Mm-hmm.
But it is still... it's not AAA, right? But it's very... They look fully formed, I guess would be what I would say. And some of the games like Survival, the animation looks okay. The animation for your characters looks okay. It's very simple. You're only going to have the arms move or something like that. So it's not old school, but yeah, it doesn't feel top quality, I guess is what I would say. But this leads down to our last two. The last two, which are just absolutely unplayable because we have no idea what's going on. 39 is called RPG. If I'm playing you're on your side and you're hitting some sort of button to upgrade your sword.
Okay.
And you can at one point upgrade your opponent's sword. And if you end up with a better sword at the end, you win.
Okay.
But you have no idea what's a better sword or what is going to make it win. And you're just hitting buttons and hoping. It's just all RNG, at least the way that we played. Maybe there is a logical strategy to this, but we had no clue. And we kind of said, nope, this is pretty much done. The lowest one, and this is the one we both agree is just the absolute worst one of the whole game. I'm pretty sure before it was called UNI, but now it's called Legend Drummer. It's meant to be a rhythm game.
That'll be fun with lag.
And with no sound. Good luck with that. Even when you're the host, sometimes the sound doesn't seem to work. The buttons don't seem to make any sense. There's no indicator of when you're supposed to be doing anything. It's almost like you're supposed to listen and know when to do different things based on what you're hearing. But when the sound doesn't work properly, when the lag is there, we had no clue. As we had no clue. This one was just absolute torture. And this is why you can't do random, because pretty much any other game, I mean, Super Jet Boy would be a problem because you have to get to the end and it'll take forever. Catch the Flag as well might be a problem with that. But most of these, there is an end at some point, and it won't take you forever to get there. But this game, we couldn't get any points. We couldn't do anything. We had to exit out of this one because we had no way to finish it.
Yeah.
So if you had random and you got stuck with this one, that ruins your 5 games there because you can't you can't finish that one off. So you could have a tie 2-2 and there goes your random. You have to do another one.
Yeah.
I didn't like that at all. And that's it. There's your 40 uni games.
Jeez, I didn't realize there was 40 games to play.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah. Sounds a bit epic. So you played for well beyond the 1 hour.
Oh, definitely, yes.
I mean, did you just do that because you wanted to see all 40 of them? You couldn't do all 40 in an hour?
I don't think so. You probably could once you know what you're doing.
Right.
But you have to read the instructions before you go in. There was lots of tech issues when we were getting in.
Right.
And some of them, Super Jet Boy, like I said, I don't know how long we played. Like that game alone might have been 5 minutes or more.
Okay.
So with some of these others that might take that long as well, survival takes 10 seconds, but some of these others can take 5 minutes or more. And Legend Drummer, I don't know how long we sat there and tried to figure it out. But also trying to figure out if the lag worked both ways and those kind of things. And also just to play around with it. He didn't have a microphone, but I did. He seemed to have a very good time playing. And I'll say this now. Thank you, Greg, for playing. It was, I think, more fun for him because I think he was hearing me frustrated through the microphone, whereas I wasn't getting that from his end. But it was quite an epic play. I said, look, we're going to do it for the podcast. I would prefer to play against somebody else so that I get the real experience. Mm-hmm. And so he was happy to step up and do it. He seemed to enjoy it. I think this is the type of thing that he and his son, I think, would love to play this together. I think that my nephew would love to play this with his friends because they have this whole thing there. Maybe it's that stage or maybe it's just them where they like to frustrate each other. I think I've mentioned before on Overcooked where they might try to just purposely grab a bunch of the wrong items just to frustrate the people who are actually trying.
They need those.
Yeah, so for them, yeah, totally. I could totally see it.
You should play some Fall Guys.
For you, I would definitely not recommend it. One, because you should be on a controller, and that's not your thing. Two, most of these are not things I think that would appeal to you.
Mm. I mean, I like the minigame idea. I really enjoy Mario Party. I've got it on my DS, and I used to play it all the time with some other people that had Nintendo DSs as well. And yeah, it was good fun. I like those short, sweet, kind of just done. It's why I'm having a lot of fun playing Fall Guys with my daughter as well. Every round is 2 minutes, or 3 minutes maybe.
These kind of party games, sure. But I think if you're going to do that, they should all work.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, that's the crux of it, isn't it? It's like it has to be good mechanics, good control.
Easy to understand.
And easy to understand, yeah.
And that's where I think they're kind of missing it. So I think it's earned its mixed reviews.
Fair enough.
I think that there are some in here, if they had only gone with their best ones, they might have done better.
Right.
It wouldn't be worth the $5 they were going for, but it's still not worth the $5. And if I paid the $5, I would say that this is I'm not even sure. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to rate it. Let me just say, I wouldn't recommend it to you. I don't see myself playing it again. Mm-hmm. And I really wouldn't recommend it to anyone else unless they can get it for free. Or unless they want to play a game where they can kind of torture each other because of how bad it is. If that's what you want, then Uni is probably going to be worth it for you. It's going to be fun to laugh at each other struggling to do it.
Right.
I'm sure that if I was in a room with somebody and we were both really frustrated at Super Jet Boy, it might be fun because we were both miserable. Mm-hmm. But when I'm sitting in a room alone, it's not quite as much fun. As far as tags, mini games, casual, co-op.
Fair enough.
I did get it for free though.
Dun, 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 dun. So it's not really a buyer's anything.
Not really. I would say...
Time. Was it worth your 2 hours, Justin?
I would say if I paid $5, no. It would be an instant remorse. But because I played with somebody who did have a good time, and because it was a way to connect from, a great distance geographically to play... It's hard to say because it's like, well, I would rather do it on a better game.
Yeah.
And I'd rather do it in a game that didn't have lag. Here's what I would say. For me, in my current situation, if I paid for it, it'd be a remorse because I can't play this with anybody else.
Right.
But on its own, choosing a handful of games, jumping in for 30 minutes, particularly if you have a kid, because they're going to want to go, oh, I want to play the basketball game, even though it's not the best game. But they'll want to play it together. It's like with you guys and the Fall Guys. I could see this being worth it. So if you can get it for $1 or less and you want to play through just some of the better ones, I get that. Especially if you have somebody in your home who you can play this with. For me, because he had a good time, because it did allow that connection, I can't believe I'm going to say this because so many of them frustrate me so much. But I'm going to give it a confirmation.
Buyer's confirmation.
Ugh. Foiled. Almost.
Not really, but yeah, it was bad.